Before our world had order, it had fear. Before kings and empires, there were titans, gods of immense power, born from the cosmos itself. Their ruler was Cronos, and he presided over a so-called golden age. But this era wasn't built on prosperity. It was built on paranoia, betrayal, and a chilling prophecy. That Cronos would be overthrown not by a rival or a monster, but by his own child. This is the story of how that prophecy came true, thanks to the iron will of a son who was never meant to survive. He was the son his father, the Titan King Cronos, tried to swallow at birth. But fate had other plans. This is the story of Zeus's secret childhood, his quest to free his family from the belly of their father, and his epic battle to unleash a god's revenge. Our story begins when the universe was young, and its rulers were raw, unneed forces of nature. These were the Titans, the giant children of Gaia, the earth, and Uranus, the sky. Their king, Cronos, didn't inherit his throne peacefully. He seized it. His own mother, Gaia, armed him with a flint sickle to use against his father, Uranus, who had imprisoned his monstrous children deep within the earth. Cronos, ambitious and ruthless, attacked his father and took his place as the supreme ruler. But power born from betrayal is always haunted. As Uranus fell, he cursed his son with a prophecy. Just as you overthrew me, you too will be overthrown by your own child. This curse became the gnawing terror at the heart of Cronos' reign. He, the master of the cosmos, was now a slave to fear. With his sister Rhea as his queen, Cronos ruled what poets later called a golden age. For the royal couple, however, it was anything but. Every child Rhea bore was a reminder of the prophecy, a potential threat to his power. He couldn't kill them, but he refused to let them exist. So his paranoia devised a horrific solution. One by one, as Rhea gave birth, Cronos demanded the child, and one by one, he took the divine infant and swallowed it whole. First was Hestia, goddess of the hearth, then Demeter, goddess of the harvest, and Hera, destined to be a queen. He swallowed his sons too, Hades, future lord of the underworld, and Poseidon, who would one day command the seas. They weren't dead, but they weren't alive either. They were trapped, imprisoned in the dark belly of their own father. Rhea's heart was shattered. She was the mother of gods, yet powerless to save them. Her tears meant nothing to a king blinded by fear. After watching 5 of her children disappear, her sorrow turned to a simmering rage. As she prepared for the birth of her 6th child, she knew she couldn't let it happen again. The cycle had to be broken. This child wouldn't be a prisoner. He would be a savior. He would be her revenge. Desperate, Rhea sought counsel from her parents, Gaia and Uranus. They knew the prophecy had to be fulfilled and helped her hatch a plan. On their advice, she traveled to the remote island of Crete, finding a deep, secluded cave on Mount Ida to serve as a secret birthplace. There, far from Cronos' paranoid watch, Rhea gave birth to a son. She named him Zeus. But there was no time to celebrate. She returned to her king, and in her arms, she carried not a child, but a large stone, carefully wrapped in swaddling clothes. She presented the bundle to Cronos. Blinded by fear, the Titan King saw only what he expected. He seized the swaddled rock and swallowed it whole. Cronos was satisfied, believing he had cheated fate again. He had no idea he'd just swallowed a rock that would become a symbol of his defeat, and that his real son, the instrument of his doom, was safe and alive. Zeus's childhood was unlike any other. He was a god in hiding, a king in exile. Rhea entrusted him to the care of nymphs, who fed him the milk of a divine goat named Amalthea. It was said that from one of her horns flowed ambrosia, and from the other, nectar, the food and drink of the gods. To keep him hidden, a band of warrior spirits called the Coretes stood guard. Whenever the baby Zeus cried, they would clash their spears against their shields, their war dance creating a racket that drowned out the sound from his father's ears. He was even hidden in a cradle suspended from a tree, neither in the sky, on the earth, nor in the sea, keeping him out of Cronis's domains. Zeus grew with impossible speed, his divine nature flourishing. He wasn't raised in a palace. He was raised with the strength of the mountains. He learned to command the island's storms, a first taste of the power that was his birthright. As he grew into a man of formidable power, the story of his family's fate was revealed to him. He learned of his 5 siblings, trapped in his father's stomach. He learned of Cronis's tyranny and of the prophecy that he, Zeus, was destined to fulfill. His secret childhood was over. The years of hiding had forged him into a weapon, and now that weapon was aimed at the throne of the Titans. It was time for the son to face the father. Once he reached adulthood, Zeus knew brute strength wasn't enough to topple the king of the Titans. He needed cunning and allies. His first move was to find Miti, a Titan goddess whose name literally meant cunning intelligence. Metis saw that the time for a new cosmic order had come and became his most crucial ally. A direct assault was suicide. They had to strike from within. Together, they created a powerful emetic, a potion designed to make a god throw up whatever he'd swallowed. With Rhea's help, Zeus was brought into the Titan court, disguised as a royal cupbearer. Cronos, arrogant and unsuspecting, never imagined this young servant was the son he thought he'd consumed years ago. The moment came during a feast. Zeus stepped forward and presented the goblet to the Titan King. Cronos drank deeply. At first, nothing, but then a violent sickness churned within him. He convulsed and, to the horror of the court, began to retch. First came the stone clattering onto the floor. Zeus would later place this stone at Delphi, where it was revered as the Omphalos, the navel of the world. But it wasn't over. After the stone came the children. One by one, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon emerged. And not as infants, but as fully grown gods, their power undiminished. Their confusion quickly turned to rage as they realized what had been done to them. They saw their younger brother, Zeus, standing defiant and knew he was their liberator. In that moment, a new pantheon was born. They were no longer the consumed children of Cronos. They were the Olympians, and right there, in the heart of their enemy's fortress, they swore an oath to follow Zeus, wage war on their father, and claim the cosmos for themselves. The great war was about to begin. The rebellion was on. This was the Titanomachy, the War of the Titans. On one side, Cronos and his loyalists gathered on Mount Othrys. On the other, Zeus and his siblings established their own stronghold on the towering peak of Mount Olympus. The war raged for 10 brutal years, a devastating stalemate that shook the foundations of the world. The Olympians were fierce, but the Titans, led by the formidable general Atlas, were more powerful and numerous. It looked like the rebellion might be crushed. But Zeus had an ace up his sleeve. His grandmother Gaia advised him that victory could only be won if he freed his other uncles, the ones Cronis had left locked away in Tartarus, the deepest pit of the underworld. So Zeus descended into the darkness, slew the monstrous jailer Campe, and broke the chains of the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, the 100 Handers. These weren't ordinary allies. The 3 Cyclopes were master craftsmen. The 3 Hecatoncheires were living engines of destruction, each with 100 arms. Their gratitude to Zeus was immeasurable, and they pledged their awesome power to his cause. The Cyclopes immediately forged divine weapons. For Poseidon, a trident that could shake the earth. Legend says that for Hades, they crafted the Helm of Darkness, a cap that could make its wearer invisible. And for Zeus, their liberator, they crafted his ultimate weapon, the thunderbolt. The tide of the war turned dramatically. Armed with god-forged weapons and backed by the monstrous might of their uncles, the Olympians launched their final assault. The climax was a cataclysm. The sky screamed with Zeus's lightning. The seas raged as Poseidon struck the land. Hades moved unseen, sowing chaos, and the 100 Handers unleashed a storm of boulders that the Titans could not withstand. The battle was long, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The age of the Titans was over. Victory was absolute. The reign of Cronos was shattered. In a turn of cosmic irony, the Titans who had fought against them were cast down into the dark abyss of Tartarus, the very prison where Cronos had left his brothers. To make sure they never escaped, Zeus appointed the mighty 100 Handers as their eternal guards. Not all Titans suffered this fate. Those who stayed neutral or helped the Olympians were spared. But a special punishment was reserved for the Titan general, Atlas. For leading their armies against Olympus, he was condemned to stand at the western edge of the world and hold up the heavens on his shoulders for all eternity. A permanent reminder of the cost of rebellion. With their enemies secured, the 3 brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, agreed to draw lots to divide the world. Hades drew the shortest lot and became lord of the underworld, the shadowy realm of the dead. Poseidon drew the second and was given dominion over the seas. And Zeus, the liberator, drew the longest lot. He claimed the vast sky as his domain and, with it, the undisputed title of King of the Gods, ruling from his throne on Mount Olympus. A new age had dawned, the age of the Olympians. Zeus's throne was won, but it wasn't secure. New challenges rose from the ashes. Gaia, the earth, was enraged that her Titan children were imprisoned. In retaliation, she gave birth to a monster more terrifying than any Titan, Typhon. He was a giant of pure chaos. So vast his head brushed the stars with legs of coiling serpents. When this monstrosity assaulted Olympus, most of the new gods fled in terror. But Zeus stood his ground. He faced the monster in a battle that scorched the earth. Typhon initially gained the upper hand, even managing to trap Zeus and wound him. But with the help of Hermes, Zeus recovered his strength. Furious, he pursued Typhon and finally defeated the beast, burying him beneath Mount Etna in Sicily, where his fiery breath still causes the volcano to tremble. Defeating Typhon proved Zeus was a worthy king. But with his rule solidified, Zeus showed his justice could be as terrible as his wrath. The Titan Prometheus, once an ally, defied the new king's decree and stole fire from the heavens to give to mortal humans. For Zeus, This was unforgivable rebellion. His revenge was eternal. He had Prometheus chained to a cliff in the Caucasus Mountains. Every day, an eagle, Zeus's own symbol, would descend and feast on Prometheus's liver. Each night, the liver would regrow, ensuring his torment was endless. This sent a clear message to all. Zeus was the ruler, his memory was long, and his revenge was absolute. From a hidden cave to the throne of the cosmos, the rise of Zeus is a saga of rebellion, destiny, and the brutal nature of power. He was the son who survived, the brother who liberated, and the king who brought order to the universe through strategy and sheer force. His story reminds us that even gods are shaped by the battles they fight, and that every new dawn is born from the ashes of what came before.